So I'll probably take a moment or two to get some people in here. Load one more thing. So, I mean, while we're waiting for people to come in, last time we talked, it looked like the market might be ready to base a little bit over 400 and make a move up, and it most certainly did not.
Yeah.
I was leaning bullish, but I was like, I just don't think we're going to get away from, whether I see people arguing all the time whether it's still a bear market or not. I'm like, I'm not going to get involved in arguing this stuff with anybody. It's
not
does it
really
really matter if it's a
relevant.
bear market or bull
Yeah.
market? Just trade your freaking plan. That's what I always say to people. I mean, everybody wants to predict and whatever else. So
I mean, yeah, I can understand that. But I mean, we did see a nice kind of a small bounce, but the market basically moving sideways with a little bit of negativity, right?
yeah,
It's not really melting down. Yeah, and we are still stuck in some levels here. And I'm kind of in the middle for this week. Not really
yeah.
sure where we heading.
Tesla ended the week on some volatile notes. You must have had some good trades on that, no?
Yeah, yeah. I'm all about trading Tesla, and
Yeah,
I did great this week. And sometimes I missed a very good trade on others, like stocks in play. Uh,
right.
you had IQ, and you had Baidu, and some other good names. BABA was great as well.
Yeah.
But I just missed them because I'm focusing myself on Tesla. It's good and bad because there are traders that focusing on one or two stocks, and
Hmm.
there are traders that always go to the stocks in play.
Yeah.
And I did both actually. I traded for roughly, I don't know, like 12 years. I traded stocks in play. So every day I had those. At the beginning, I had 20 stocks that I'm
Hmm.
watching, and then I came to realize that I only need like four or five, and so I focused on them. And lately, I guess the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, um, I'm mostly focusing myself on like big names. Nvidia, I'm trading a lot.
Yeah.
Tesla, BABA, I really love to trade. Depends on the time, like the
Hmm.
period time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's a bit easier, maybe a bit more boring because you're trading only one symbol, but it's much easier because you get to learn the stock, you get to learn the buyers and the sellers, the
Hmm.
market makers that moving it. So yeah,
Yeah. So, all right, I see some people piling in. So we'll get a little
cool.
more formal, I guess, for a moment here. So for anybody just joining, tell your
Right.
friends and family about us. We got Michael Katz here, CEO of Trade the Pool, prop firm for stock traders, and Chris Varley with Trade Ideas Education Support Team. So, what we're doing here is, several times a month, we're trying to get together in the pre-market or about midway through the day, give or take a few times a week or a few times a month as well, kind of a recap for the day and or week. We've got a partnership that we formed here a little over a month ago, and Trade the Pool here is the only prop firm you're going to find out there to get funded for stock trading. Of course, it's not just get funded; you got to take a evaluation phase, and from there, once you are a funded trader with Trade the Pool, they have an incredible offer that they will pay for a standard trade idea subscription for you. So, um, you know, it's hard to find capital to trade sometimes, especially for those starting out. It's hard to get the right tools, and those tools can be costly, especially for new traders. So this is really an offer that is to say the least quite incredible. We were just kind of shooting the breeze a little bit about the market overall the last week and a half or so, and then Michael's going into a little details on some of the trades and stuff that he was doing. So, um, Michael, what are you looking at this morning? What's on the radar this morning?
Yeah. So first of all, like always, I'm looking at the Nasdaq and the S&P,
Mm-hmm.
just checking, just checking to see if I can understand from the chart the next move. And to be honest, I'm like today at least, I'm kind of in the middle. On one hand, I can see the market pushing a bit higher to resistant levels,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not really expecting it to go really strong. At least for the moment, the buyers look okay, but not as strong as I expect them to be in order to really push to new highs, you know?
Yeah. What I was saying before is when we got up over 400, I think there's a lot of people that gave on the SPY anyways. I think there's a lot of people that gave that kind of all clear,
Hmm.
and we'll base maybe, and then we'll start to make that move and attack, that 420 level,
Yeah,
4,200 on the S&P. That's a huge pivot level going back well over a year and a half or more. And I think a lot of people were ready for an attack on that and kind of a battle there. And it was a rejection off that level. And that was the end of that right there. We come back, pierced 400, and looks like we might challenge 400 again on that again 400 or 4,000. Between the SPY and the S&P 500. The
yeah,
same idea. And then looking at the Qs here, I think that same kind of idea here, that 315, 316 level on the Qs here, that's another really significant level going back about 2 years on that.
yeah.
And we got right up to that, just shy of it, and got rejected right off of that with the Qs, and they kind of fell, I'd say, a little bit harder than the rest of the major indexes. So
Obviously,
it really remains a day trader's market at this point. It's not to say that you can't find a swing trade out there. We're more talking about day trading here in this stream anyways. But the volatility and having those risk plans, they're going to be the ones that are king of the market at this moment. Really staying disciplined, really sticking to it. The things that you've gone over, especially over the last couple of weeks that we've done this, or month and a half that we've been doing this.
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to benefit people the most here. So I'm looking, a few different things I was looking at here that was coming through this morning here. Trying to find, what was it? Lost my way here. Okay, so for me, now Michael will trade things. He's a little more methodical in what he's looking at and staying consistent on a lot of symbols here and how he scans and scans and uses for those. Me, I'm kind of looking at. I'll go into the day with a list of a few different stocks, possibly based on a couple of scans that I have that I do some weekend homework with, and I also look at what's kind of active going on. So it's MLEC here. Looking at this here, if this can get and hold up above that 750 level, so we're gapped way up over that, but I want to see it hold, and I wouldn't mind to see it pull back towards that level. But going back here on this daily chart, wouldn't mind seeing that. We've got it, only 590,000 shares here in the pre-market, so it could be something that was only active in the pre-market, and then that's it. We won't see anything more. But one other thing I want to note is that it is a Luxembourg stock, and I have done very well trading Luxembourg stocks over the last 2 years. I don't know what it is about their stock market, but for some reason, I seem to have a good rapport whenever their stocks come through. South
Nice.
American stocks, not so much. I don't do as well as South American stocks for some reason. So Luxembourg has treated me well. Some other things I look at, Zeta, I traded that on Friday, actually. When we got this break here at 1040, I decided to go in on it here, and I was keeping kind of a tight stop with this 8 EMA here and on a 15-minute chart. And it just ended up, working out pretty well here. If someone might say, Chris, why did you take it on that 1040 move? And it had reclaimed VWAP, and there's a little bit of volume that had come in behind it. And it was an earnings play. You'd see that indicated on here by the yellow mark on the charts. And it just kind of felt like it was holding well when the market was selling off. While this had pulled back some, it didn't pull quite back as much as the rest of the market. Plus, it had gapped up where the market had gapped down on Friday, and ended up being a nice day trade. And, we'll see what happens. It's on the radar again today for me. Actually, let me throw that light symbol on there. So those are the kind of things. Also, LAZR is another one here. Andy actually traded LAZR on Friday. I wish I had followed him, but I just wasn't feeling as confident about that move as he was. But it is going to be on my radar for today. It's got some resistance it's run into here, but the market itself is gapping up, and if we can get a little bit of momentum behind the overall market, This has a little bit of momentum, coming off this bottom here at the beginning of January. This 830 level is a really big pivot line. Could see a move up towards that $9 level. So it's kind of the things that I'm looking at here in the pre-market, setting myself up.
Nice.
I see there's a couple of questions Patrick had thrown in here. So, hi, Michael. Are you having plans for special offer of funded program anytime soon? I'm going to jump the gun and say, I think, what they're offering, where they're paying for Trade Idea subscription for you is kind of the offer that's out there right now. I'll let you take over from there, though, Michael.
Great, thanks. Hey, Patrick. So, special offer, we do plan something. It will be out soon. Just to add in, I mean, that's a big one, but add in more time to the program, basically. I'm a kind of guy that likes to be involved and listen to the street, we'll call it. So on our Discord and through the emails and support and all of those things, I always get the information and talk to traders. And a lot of the things that happened, and we didn't publish it yet. So this is first, Chris, live.
Oh, okay. All
that
right.
I'm talking about it.
Very good.
So a lot of guys been asking me to increase the time period. And I can understand that and relate to that. So we did that. Again, we didn't publish it yet. And we added an extra bonus as well there. So in a few days, you will get that too. How do you find the stocks in place? So we will go through this right now. First of all, through Trade Ideas, you can definitely do that. Through the scanners, the gainers, the losers. Chris got a lot of good stuff going on there that can indicate of a potential stock in play. If you want to add more to that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, first with Trade Idea scanners, you're going to get some stuff that comes right out of the box. We have what we call a channel bar, and with that channel bar, we have different themed, we call them channels. Pre-market, post-market, momentum stocks, things like that. That there's like 30 something channels, some work pre-market. I think you want to use pre-market as the focus of pre-market, as some of the different items that we have do or don't work in the pre-market based on, not trying to interrupt market time statistics, essentially. Something like a relative volume, for example. But like I said, lots of pre-made stuff out of there. If you're a Trade Ideas subscriber, we can share scans with you, myself, other support members here. If you're familiar with any of them, Andy, Steve, Jamie, Barry, Michael, we all happy and willingly share any of the scans that we have created. And we can also, if you give us an email and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a scan that does something like this or similar to this, we'll build something out for you and send it over with the cloud link. It could be, be semi-generic template. You're going to want to tweak it yourself, obviously, and you have to work within the alerts and filters that we have. And we do have, 500 different data points that we have. So, we can do a lot. Can we do everything? No, but nobody can do everything. And the other thing is nobody has real-time data like we do. Basically every other scanner that's out there, you have to press refresh on it. You got to remember to keep pressing refresh, or you have to input the stocks you want into it for it to spit things out. On this, you can say, find me the stocks that meet what I want to see, and we return them to you live, in a few different ways that we can do that as well. So, email us, info at, I'll put that in here, info at trade-ideas.com. You get us through there, through our live stream. If you email Michael and his team, they could always forward it over to us as well. We work any which way that we can to make sure we're getting you what you need to do that preparations. For anybody that is a Trade Ideas subscriber, in a few moments here, I'll start to throw in some different scans that I personally use throughout the day, and I'll say what they are, what they're for, into the chat as well for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's about Patrick, about the stocks in play. And let's go. Can I take this?
Take it away. Take it away.
So let's talk a little bit about that and look for those stocks that are in play, basically. I guess we start first with the market just to analyze the
Hmm.
NQ and the S&P. So again, you can look at the QQQ for the Nasdaq or the SPY for the S&P 500. I'm looking at the futures, but it's very similar. You will see the same picture at least. So as I mentioned before, I'm kind of neutral. The market does look good to the upside, but we will have, I'm on a 4 hour chart, we will have this resistance right here at around 12,257 ish.
Hmm.
So I guess not a lot to play with, roughly 100 points. And I guess it should be a strong enough level to prevent the buyers from pushing higher, at least for the beginning. If we drop down, we have um, we have like 200 points to the downside around this area of 11,700 or so. So even 300 points from the bottom, from the low. So that could be also a good move to the downside. Pretty much, as you can see it, it's it's moving to the downside, but very consolidating, not really strong
Hmm.
momentum move to the downside or to the upside. So in this case,
Everybody
I'm
being
kind of new.
cautious.
Yeah, exactly.
Buyers and sellers both
Exactly.
being cautious.
Yeah. Waiting for the next event or the
Yeah.
next news that will pop it up or down. The same as the S&P and the ES. Something interesting to see. We did break the channel. If you recall, Chris, we talked about it plenty the last month or so. We did have two channels. One is
Hmm.
the dashes here that we broke, and the second one, a bigger one, is the light blue, and we did break it just the other day. Right now, bouncing up to retest it. It will be interesting to see if it will hold the resistance, and the seller could push the price. Maybe will push the price to the downside, and then we have plenty of room all the way to the 4,000. Uh, so that's like a little bit less than that, like 3,900, maybe even a bit more. So that's what I'm looking at right now when I'm watching the S&P and the Nasdaq. Not a lot to see. I rather see bouncing up to resistance and then sellers becoming more aggressive in pushing the price down than um, than pushing up just like that. So it will be much more easier to trade if we will go to the resistance, hold it, and then start to short, look for short, either
Hmm.
the market or just big names, Tesla and all of those. When it comes to stocks in play, I'm looking at. Let me capture the screen again. Okay. All right. So stocks in play. I'm looking at a few of those.
Hmm.
One, first of all, we still have Tesla going already $5.4. So you know, again, Tesla is just a great stock to watch and to trade every single day. I mean, lots of volume coming in every day, lots of liquidity, so lots of volatility as well. So you can literally trade it ups and down very, uh, very consistently. Let's say. So you can see that we have a level at around 203. So we can mark it from the previous days. So that will be one that you want to watch for. And let's say if we will go, so my scenarios on Tesla, at least for the beginning, could be just popping up, reaching the 203, not breaking it, and shorting it from that area. That makes sense because I see that the MACD is also dropping a little bit and basically creating negative diversion. So it will make sense for me to see a resistance level at around 203. Sellers will come in, drop the price. You will probably see high volume coming in, like increased volume on a 1 minute chart. and look to short Tesla from that area. First of all, to the 202, and then you can definitely look at the 200 EMA that most of the time, not always, but most of the time, uh, you will see Tesla bouncing off of it, and it will react as resistance or support to it. So you can definitely work with it. Breaking through the 203, maybe retesting it as a support could be leading to the next move to the upside on Tesla. Of course, you need to go to the 1H, an hourly chart, just to make sure you don't have any resistance that can block this move. And we'll do that on SGEN, SGEN. Are you familiar with that company?
SGEN.
SGEN?
Yeah.
Okay. So it had earnings just the other day.
Yep.
And
beautiful earnings gap, and here goes another gap.
Yeah, and right now we're trading at 182, so that's like way above here. At the last high was what is it? July 2022. Yep. So we can definitely can mark the level here.
Huge zone right there.
Yeah, 181 ish. And let's take the daily chart just to see what else can it offer. Basically, what I'm doing right now is looking for other gaps that didn't get filled yet, or some other levels that might indicate that the seller would like to join. For example, that could be one right here at 191. It's a bit far. It's another $10 to the upside, but that makes sense. And of course, from the downside, let's say it will drop, we should look for another stop, basically. So like a support level that it could that could stop the falling. I mean, we do have 160 something. That's fairly far. So I can definitely see it dropping down and giving us a nice move to the downside. Now, the only trick here, we only have like 400,000 shares at the moment. So we still got 40 minutes before the opening bell, but not a lot of volume coming in. So I can build a scenario. I won't trade it unless I'll see at least 1 million. So the classic one will be exactly as it was on Baidu a few days ago. Just drop down below the support resistance level, retest it as resistance, and then drop all the way down, potentially even to the 166 level. But that's a great move to the downside. But basically, if it will do that and have enough volume, that could be a great place to short it at around 181. The upside is going all the way to 191. But you know what? In most cases, when a stock is gapping that high, like what is it? After it already gapped from 140 to 160, 150, and then going from 160 to 180, guys want to put some money in the bank. So it makes sense. We would see a drop before. Right.
100%. 100%. One of the things, I'll say, I don't post a lot on Twitter, but I'm active on Twitter, always going through it and reading what things are going. And, you always see these people that are crazy Tesla bulls or crazy Tesla bears. And I'd love to have them all sit with you for a few minutes so they could see, one day you're short in Tesla and then you're long an hour later and then back and forth. Like, does it, I guess when people are, have a long-term outlook on it, so be it with any of that. but I just love how you put up scenarios and you talk about scenarios that if it does this, I'm long. If it does this, I'm short. I don't really care about anything else. I care about making money at the end of the day. That's what we're all here to do is make money. And I just think, I think that's an attitude, that's an intangible thing for people to learn from, either with us in the live stream now, if they catch us on a recording later, is to not get bogged down in a bias of which way something may do. Just say, if it does this, I'm this way. If it does that, I'm that way, because I just want to make money. That's what I'm not here to be right. I'm here to make money.
Right on. I mean, it's not about predicting right. It's just about trading the plan. So if you have a scenario, that's the plan to trade. You see this, it's happening right in front of your eyes. You can trade it. If you didn't, how many times guys told me, I could have made much more money on whatever it is if I just held it more, or if I would have gone long or short, because instead of short, going long or whatever it is. In the end, I just need to be right on what I'm taking. I just need to trade what I see, what I prepared. That's the idea. In my opinion,
I think that's one of the hardest things for people to get through their head, though, is not being right. It's about being wrong for the shortest amount of time.
TGNA, I'm not familiar with that company, but I saw it kept up and now dropping to the 16 level.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, so that's something in the news. If you pick something up.
Let's see.
I mean, aftermarket.
Discussion analyst of financial condition and operations from 10K. Reports from fourth quarter and full year 2022 results. That was on that was all this morning. So it looks like they have they're getting ahead of bad earnings news now. Essentially, it's what they're doing. Right. Or they have earnings this morning, and
oh yeah.
So they have earnings this morning, and it's not looking too good between that their 10K report and their earnings itself.
So that was a killer on the aftermarket. Look at the drop.
It looks like they were anticipating it, and they released a statement early to kind of get ahead of that. So, well, that happened to me a couple of weeks ago with that. We talked about a few weeks ago what happened to me. I got caught in that, and it wasn't even earnings though. It was a way ahead release of a prediction, and then a major buyer they said had scaled back ordering, and that just murdered me. Anyways, that's the market, and that's the risk of swing trading right there. But I mean, this is going to present. Look, I mean, this could it be a gap down and go? If it is, it's going to be tough it's down 23% already. So the uptick rule is going to make an issue for you. If you're going to have to really work that order to get filled going in like that, especially at market. But it also presents possible for a big bounce as well. Not saying that it will, but I've seen plenty of stocks get slaughtered like this on bad earnings and then have a bounce for the day. That doesn't mean they're going to bounce and recover what they lost, or they're going to bounce for multiple days. But look, if the thing opens down, let's say 20-25%, and then you see a 5% bounce on that, I mean,
it's nice.
Exactly. Setting up that opportunity.
Super hard for me to find a support level here. Maybe at around 16, but the chart is very messy.
You're going to have to go. I mean, you're going to have to go. I'm looking at a weekly chart right now, and you are going to have to go back to September of 2021 to find any support right there. So that's actually right where it's gapping down to is pretty major level. I mean, it had rejections of this level in April 2019. It had rejection of that level again in August of 2019. And then it danced around this level from December of 2019 through March of 2020, fell hard all the way down to 10, recovered back up to this level in January 2021. got a nice lift through most of the year until September. It came right back down in September 2021 again to this level, and it hasn't seen this level since September of 2021 again. So this is a really, really big key level. Actually, I'm looking at a weekly chart right now.
Yeah, I saw that. And also on the, I see it, when I'm looking at the weekly chart, I also see the number 18, right? You
Yep.
see it, beautiful bounce. And it's opening like $1 and something below it. So what could be a great scenario is to basically push higher to the level,
Yep.
get the rejection from it, and then drop again all the way to the 16. That could be an interesting move. Other option is to break through it, to see a lot of volume coming in, breaking through the 18, retesting it as support, and then moving higher.
Yeah, that's beautifully well drawn. Beautiful, well drawn right there.
So it could be super interesting. Already almost 2 million shares.
Yep, 1.7 I've
Pre-market,
got at the
yeah.
moment in the pre-market here. Yeah, I mean that's pretty heavy duty right now.
It's nice.
You got to feel for anybody in that. Trying to let's see what it's doing for volume percent.
You want to take the screen? Show us what you look at.
Yeah, I could go over a few different things here. Let me make a present. And thank God the sun moved out of the way. The sun, I was trying to move the camera around, but the sun comes in through a window here, which I love having the sun come in. However, a bit interruptive to when I was on the camera before there. So, all right. So yeah, we got that chart up here, and just just finish piggybacking on what Michael had here on TGNA. We can see this big level here, just above 16, 17, give or take. And then he mentioned 18, and that's this here. So we can see that these two levels here are a magnet for price right now. And I would suspect that they're going to dictate a lot moving forward for the rest of the day on that stock specifically.
Yeah.
You really see it here, through here, and again through here. So, the very tradable action could very well happen there to either side. And I think Michael really drew that out well there. Now, a few things that I was looking at. We talked about LAZR already, so let me hide that. I have an earnings up here, and I've got it sorted by market cap down here. So, if anybody that does happen to like the big boys here, Berkshire A and B are reporting right now. I'd never bet against Warren Buffett long-term on anything. I think Berkshire B would be more the one that someone would want to day trade. I don't think anybody wants to trade a $400,000 stock, but you never know. You never know out there, right? Anything is possible. But, just looking at Berkshire B right now, this 300, psychological level, obviously big whole number 300 came down, tested that. We're gapping back up off that now. And you've got this upper range right here. That's definitely a price range, or definitely a magnet for price. Recently 323-ish, 320, I guess, 320, give or take, 319. And again, it's very psychological, these whole numbers, especially when you get up into these big number stocks. You're going to find, when you get over $100, 100, 110, 120 become very big numbers. As you get higher, those numbers can spread out a little more. So I'd say 300 and 320 is going to be a big range. And when you have, I know people are going to look and say, I can't trade a $300 stock, my account side, things like that. But think about the percent move there. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you only take in 10 shares or 15 shares or 20 shares or something like this, and you get a $15 move on it. Now, $15 sounds huge, but on a percent basis of a stock this high or this price, that's not really all that uncommon, And a stock like Berkshire B, you're not going to find a very large spread on it relative to the price that it is, where you could find, some of these high flyers and people I know want to trade these things that, it's a $5 stock and it's gapped up to $7 and it's got all this action on it and news and whatever else. And, I've seen it run, $5 and that's, 100% move and things like that. Yeah, that's fun and whatever else if you've got a rapport for those stocks. But you can also find a stock like that, a gap from 5 to 7, all of a sudden has a 20-30 cent spread on it. It's a really high percentage spread compared to the price of the stock, where you're going to find this has probably got maybe like $1 spread on a $300 stock. It's a much more manageable stock when you break things and be realistic about percentages. Anyway, so I'm looking at Berkshire B there anyways. There's always going to be a lot of liquidity in it. It's an earnings play. It's just one of those ones that there's a lot of scenarios to draw on here. And I'm just going to zoom out on a 15-minute chart here. And, we can break this down further here. This 305 level, it looks like I'm going to move this line down from this 20, but this 305 level looks like it's, if we can break above this and kind of stealing from what Michael did on that prior stock there, TGNA, we can break above this, retest it. That might be a nice scenario there. If we break above and fail, that might be a nice scenario back down there to come back down to this 300 level down here and further down. So I think Berkshire B, for those that are looking for something like that as an earnings play, that kind of sets up well into there. Oxy is another one here, Occidental Petroleum. Energy's been under pressure again recently. Obviously, everybody's seen what natural gas happened to that. I mean, that's why they call natural gas the widowmaker. I've how many stories have I heard or seen posted on social medias or boards or trading forums where someone had this guaranteed fund about natural gas, and then next thing you know, they were long or short it the wrong way, and the thing just made a 100% move in 2 days the opposite way. Yeah. And that was it. They had to close the fund and lost all their money and everything else. I mean, time and time again. But so Occidental is going to suffer through what natural gas has had happen to it. Natural gas ever does catch a bid again. I mean, I'd like to believe it will, but you never know. You're going to find these stocks that have held well that didn't get pummeled with natural gas, and oil prices are pretty much held well. They've been in this range of between 70 for us here for WTI has been around 73 to 80 or so. It's around 76 this morning. Last I looked about an hour or two ago. So all of a sudden, if energy catches a bid, you're looking at Occidental here is finding a big area on support here. We're looking at a weekly chart here. You're finding a big area that came down here several years ago, has come back up, and it's really fought this area. And so above here, on this 15-minute chart, we might see a move here. And again, this is a Warren Buffett play, as he went big into it a couple of months ago, and maybe even longer than a couple of months ago now at this point. Below here, I think you're looking at a nice short as well. It's a stock that, while it's only traded 200,000 shares here in the pre-market, or 250,000 shares, give or take, in the pre-market, it's a stock that is always liquid. This thing will have traded several million shares by the time the day is done. Again, we're looking at earnings here. So these are setting up to some really good scenarios on stocks that they're not going to be overly volatile. They're not going to have ridiculous spreads, and you're not going to find yourself in a scenario where, like I said, you're trying to trade those real high flyers and you're trying to find that stuff that's making that, 30% move in 5 minutes. Again, if you trade that way and if you have success that way, great. But if you're someone who's still trying to make their way in, you're trying to get funded through Trade the Pool, I think these are the kinds of plays that you want to be looking at. They're safer. Not that there's a safe play, but they're those safer plays that you're not going to get caught in a halt down. You're not going to get caught in a halt up. I mean, unless obviously there's some crazy news that came out, but nobody can predict news in that sense. But you're not going to get caught in a volatility halt and the thing opens $5 lower than where you bought it from, or any of that stuff like that. You're going to have, nice moving averages, RSIs, things that are going to help you with the pivot lines, define a trend, define a plan, and then execute that plan and trend. Exactly the kind of stuff that Michael's consistently going over, what he's doing with Tesla and other stocks that are similar to that. So those are, some of the highlights that I'm looking at here. And again, especially because of, we're not in the middle of earnings season, but there's certainly enough earnings plays that are out there, big enough names that you can find these support and resistance levels, give yourself the if then scenarios, and then whatever EMA it is that you like, whatever SMA it is that you like, if you like a triangular moving average, whatever it is that you like, work those into your scenarios and how they will show momentum on your 5-minute chart, your 2-minute chart, your 15-minute chart, so on and so forth, and really put yourself in a position of success.
Yeah. So yeah, as you mentioned, Chris, basically there are a few ways to find the right stock to trade on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have just you can either go with like we said, the stocks in play, the super hot ones, the penny stocks. You can go with the big names like Tesla, Nvidia, etc. Or you can go, as you just mentioned, basically go to the sector. Let's say the XLE, the energy
Mm-hmm.
sector, right? Or the whatever it is, healthcare, or whatever it is that
Yep.
you like to trade, and from there dive in and find the right 2 or 3 stocks that could potentially move the best way if the sector will start to run again. So that could be again, like we got plenty of sectors that you can look at, analyze the ETF, the XLE, the XLF, the XLY, I, U, K,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then find within this ETF, you can find the relevant stocks to trade on. And it doesn't have to be like a big movers or anything like that. Most of the cases, you will have like tight stop loss. You can take nice amount of shares, and with
Realistic,
small, yeah,
realistic scenarios, realistic expectations.
yeah,
That's we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. That's
yeah.
just keep it, keep it simple, and keep that plan at the forefront of what you're doing and the execution of that plan. And again, near and towards the end, I know, Michael, you'll have to go in a few moments here. I got to get ready myself, get ready for the open, and I see emails piling up for me from people. It's a twofold scenario that you're being offered here for those, that I see the numbers of, kind of increased here. And for those that are wondering what we're doing here, why we're talking about the market like this, Michael Katz is CEO of a prop firm called Trade the Pool. And there's not many prop firms out there. There's not many. First off, there isn't a lot of prop firms out there that are public like this to start with. But all the ones that are out there, with the exception of Trade the Pool, are for Forex or for other instruments where Trade the Pool offers you stocks. And you're just not going to find that anywhere else. On top of that, they're offering you a tool like Trade Ideas that you take and pass their evaluation, and you have a Trade Ideas as a scanning tool to help bolster behind what you were trying to do in the market. And so we're here trying to do 2 things, folks. The first one is obviously, we want you to join Trade the Pool. We want you to get funded. You're putting up no risk capital yourself to be able to have a funded account that can really give you some freedoms. And at the same time, you're getting a Trade Idea subscription to really narrow down, put those scans in effect, and find what you're trying to do through those scans. So, I implore everybody, please check out Trade the Pool site, post that again here. And then the second part of what I think we're trying to do here is we're trying to give people realistic scenarios, not to say that the high flyers that are out there that are trading the hot movers that are insane and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with trading that way, but the people that trade that way are very few and far between that have success, and people that really come down with the plan. They're really trying to execute the things that we're highlighting today, not the specific stocks that we're highlighting today, but the specific scenarios that these stocks have opened up, that these happen every single day. And it could be a different one in play. We're fortunate enough. I think we're fortunate enough to have stocks like Tesla and Apple and Facebook and Google and Amazon that are always in play. They're always very liquid. They're always having decent percent moves. But you can broaden beyond those things with a tool like Trade Ideas. And then with the opportunity that Trade the Pool is handing you with funded account, you can really get into those things. And then you don't have to worry about, these high price stocks. I have a small account. I can't trade those. First off, I think people need to get out of that mentality to start with. It was a hard mentality for me to get out of. But, I think one of the ways to get out of that mentality is to not be hindered by a small account that you just can't get involved in stocks like that. And that's where Trade the Pool really comes in here. So
Yeah.
you want to add to any of that there, Michael?
You said it beautifully. It's a no-brainer for me as a trader. When I first started, I always talk about it because it's really shocking to me that we actually created this program and this firm that we can actually give anyone the chance. First of all, a fair chance. You don't have to have your parents' money or friends and family, whatever it is. You can come from any country in the world and trade with enough capital to really see some progress. Because as I told you before, Chris, when I started with $10,000, I couldn't do much. Only one trade, only 100 shares or whatever. Couldn't do simultaneously trades and couldn't trade the big names or whatever it is. And that's a huge disadvantage when you come to trade.
Yeah, and the second part of that too is starting with an account like that. Internationally, I don't think most, if any other country, has to deal with what we call the PDT rule, pattern day trader rule, where here that was beyond a hindrance for me, because the only way that first off, I came in, I did not know anything about market mechanics at all. So first off, learning about the pattern day trader rule and a margin account and being able to only do three day trades in a rolling 5-day period took me a minute to wrap my head around, number one. Then, I figured out that I could use a cash account and I could trade as much as I want in settled cash, but you're still extremely limited. Once you've traded your settled cash for the day, you've got to wait still 2 days to trade that settled cash again. And so while it's not the same as waiting on a margin account with pattern day trader rule and all that, it's still a huge hindrance. It's still a struggle. You can't develop a rhythm. And then developing that rhythm is, I think, a really big part of developing a trading plan. And so there's, twofold in this too, where this isn't like, a get rich quick thing here. You don't just get funded. You got to prove yourself to get funded. And taking the evaluation also lets you trade with handcuffs off, and even though it's paper trading, it lets you trade handcuffs off, and there's a pressure there, because even though it's paper trading and you're not technically losing any money, you can't get anywhere if you don't have success in it, because it matters to have success in that paper trading to get funded. So it's still something that has to be taken seriously. It's not like just a simulator account where if I blow up the simulator account, I get it reset. If you want the funded account, you've got to pass this evaluation. You have to prove that you can do it. And now you're trading it with no limitations on the funds that are within this simulated paper account to move forward to the actual account that gets you funded. So it's not a regular paper account in that sense. It's got to be taken seriously. It isn't, it didn't work out this time on the paper account, I'll just reset the simulator and I'll just get right back at it. No, that's not how this goes. You've got to take this just as seriously as when you get to the funded account part, because you can't get there without taking this seriously. So I think it primes you to be in the mental position to get ready to risk actual real capital. So you're not risking real capital, but you have real consequences while not risking that real capital. And it makes all the difference in the world, I think, to take it seriously. I'm sure you see it on your end, Michael, where you get a lot of emails where people, you can tell in the email they're not realistic about what they're looking to do. They're not serious what they're doing. And this is a way to really weed those people out. I'm sorry if you're one of those people, or, because I think, all of us had some percentage of us that was in that boat at the beginning of what we're trying to do here. And then some quickly learned that that's not how this world works, and others don't, unfortunately. And, they never revisit it. And I think that anybody, whether you have a full-time job or a part-time job, you're retired or you're just coming out of college, I think everybody should at least explore what the market has to offer and figure out if it is or is not for them. There's a lot of opportunity. There's so many ways to do this, both day trading or swing trading. You don't have to put a ton of risk out there, especially if you really do a little studying, you do a little risk management. You don't have to put a lot of risk out there, especially with programs like yours out there and the tools that you're offering, to have some success and be able to add to your underlying income each week, each month, each year, where, all of a sudden, I'm working a full-time job, but, I have 3 days a week that I can trade. Now I'm working a full-time job and I can scale that back a little bit. And now my 3 days a week becomes a little bit more in those days. And that's kind of the path that I have, had to take here to get to where I am. And I just think being realistic. I just think, I'm making, $50 a week, and then, 5 months later, now it's $100 a week. And now, 6 months later, it's $130 a week. I think people fail to understand how that compounds over time. And that if, you take those realistic approaches, all of a sudden in 3 years, you look back and you say, gee, I was only making my first, 6 months, I was only making $40 or $50 a week in those first 6 months. And now I'm making $700 a month. I mean, think about what $700 a month how that would change your life if you just added $700 a month to what you're doing already, and continuing to compound that, year over year like that. And so these are the things that I like to share with people, and that, I'm hoping that they'll look at you, they'll look at me and think of this as realistic scenarios. These guys they're not really selling anything. They're giving you an offer. You want to take it? Great. You don't want to take it? Well, so be it as well. But we're not telling you, oh, send in a $10,000 to our boot camp and we'll make you a trader. That's not what we're doing here. It's just not what we're about.
Yeah. And I'd rather see your skills, the guys' skills, basically wherever they're coming from and wherever they learned from, just to see the way they react. There are prop firms, like maybe more local prop firms, that actually want the trader. I did work for one of those in Tel Aviv when we taught the traders how to trade our way, my basically way, and eventually it doesn't stick, because you gotta have your own personality, your own way to the market. So if you have it, fine, come bring it to the table, and let's share the split, the profits.
It's exactly. So I think we'll wrap up. There's a few comments and questions. First off, Patrick, thank you very much. He says Trade the Pool has several advantages. One of them is that there's an automatic daily stop out, and you'll still be allowed to trade until you hit that max. So it like you said, it's fair, and it keeps you honest, and it keeps you in check from doing anything foolish, revenge trading and things like that. I mean, something all of us are guilty of. Jason asked, is there any access to the platform for one sub getting familiar with it?
Yeah. So Jason, just go to the tradepool.com and sign up. When you sign up, you basically get automatically 14 days free trial, and you can play with the platform, test it, and then decide to join the evaluation phase.
There you go. And then Raymond here asks, are you affiliated with Michael Katz from 7 Points Capital by any chance, or just a coincidence, same name?
A coincidence. I don't know. I don't know how old he is, so I don't know if it was before me or not. But yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So. All right, I guess we'll leave it there. I'm going to throw in the Trade the Pool link one more time here, just for good measure here. And again, folks, if you're catching this on a replay here, we're not selling you anything. We're not asking you, send us $1,000 or send us $500 or send us $1 million and we'll make you rich, whatever it is, we'll make you rich or anything like that. Giving you an opportunity here to learn and add to your arsenal of incomes here. Is it easy? Nope. Are there any guarantees? Nope. Are we making any promises? The only promise we're making is that, we'll be there to support you with, questions that you have, whether it's a chart question, whether it's a platform question for Trade the Pool's platform, or a platform question for trade ideas. We offer, both of us on both sides, we offer a lot of educational resources that you could look at. On our side, we have ebooks, for different trading types and the like. We have, live streams both of us offer throughout the day. where, you know, we're not saying, hey, go buy these stocks. We're talking stocks, we're talking charts, we're talking setups, we're talking themes, we're talking scenarios. And you can glean from those things what you want. You know, some of it may be relevant to you at a point, some of it may not be relevant to you at a point. But I think being around like-minded people is a very important part of the process of what we're trying to do here. So I'll personally leave it on that note. Is there anything else before we part ways here, Michael, you want to walk us out with?
No, I'm good. Let's get ready to trade.
All right, sounds fantastic. Thank you all very kindly. So I saw, you know, several, you know, numbers going up and down throughout the morning here going through. If you are still looking to be a part of a stream here, Barry from Trade Ideas runs our trading room. He's got a stream that is going to be going on here, or it is going on. It's in progress, separate from what we're doing here. I will quickly drop a link to that here. Michael, if you're ready to go, I won't hold you up. I'm going to just stick around for one more minute to see if anybody else, you know, has any questions.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for taking the time with us, Michael, and I'll see you next Monday.
Yeah. Bye for now. Thanks.
Take care. So as you know, Michael makes his way out. I'm going to make my way out here in a moment. That link that I just dropped is the stream that Barry is currently running. If you want to go join him, you know, listen to his 2 cents here as he wraps up the pre-market and he moves into the regular market time. He'll be there for the rest of the day. I'll be there at noon Eastern. I'll take over for him for about an hour and kind of a midday recap. And, you know, mostly over there, what I'm doing is trying to answer Trade Ideas platform questions, but I, you know, did take some chart requests, anything like that. You know, as I always tell people, I'm no wizard, you know, I'm making an earning here. I hope to retire one day. I'm nowhere near retiring at this point. I'm not buying a Lambo or anything like that. You know, I own a Subaru Outback. You know, I like to try to be as transparent and realistic about this stuff as possible. You know, it took me 2 years to have any success with trading, literally 2 years before I had any success. And it wasn't like that success was like, oh, all of a sudden I'm making, you know, $500 a day. You know, that success was I was making $30, $40 a day for a while. So, you know, be realistic, folks. Patrick, thank you. Appreciate you. You know, I've seen you pop in. Raymond, Jason also. I've seen you guys pop in a few times where Michael and I are doing this. So really appreciate you guys coming in. It does mean the world to us. We are here trying to, you know, trying to just provide education and service for people. And if you get something from it, great. And if you don't, you know, I'm sorry, you know, that you didn't, but, you know, we're not asking anything of anybody. We're really not asking anything of anybody. You know, we have some services here, but they're not really going to cost you anything. If you take the steps the right way, going in through Trade the Pool, it doesn't cost you it doesn't cost you $1. That's all there is to it. So again, thank you, folks. I'll catch anybody that decides to join us here on the other side of the stream at noon. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Adios.